Hello and a very warm welcome to episode 53 of the Sussex by the Sea podcast, a podcast about all things Hastings United. I'm your host Chris Agutter, and on today's show we have you stopper extraordinaire, Louis Rogers. That's right, he's on and he's talking December Golden Gloves Awards, influences, Gary Elphick's impact since taking over and developing as a keeper. Also on the show we have a roundup of the week that only the Sbts fan roundtable can provide. Enjoy, Hastings fans. And now over to our top stopper himself, Louis Rogers. Hey, Louis. Thank you for this, Louis. Yeah, oh, thank you, sir.
There we are.
Before we start with anything, obviously you just won the Goalie of the Month award.
Yeah.
So you're getting gloves. What are they? Are they proper top gloves, or are we talking about snide ones from Sports Direct? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, no, proper gloves. So the ones Begovic wears, he's got his own keeper glove brand. I think they sponsor the league's Golden Glove Award. So they're top gloves. I do like them. So
lovely. So you're going to be like stylising them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm going to try and get a colourway that matches the kit in that. So hopefully.
Nice. We have the wonderful Louis Rogers, who saves everything. So Louis, you started at Eastbourne Borough. Yeah, Eastbourne Borough Academy. Yeah, and that was with a gentleman that we all know as Aggie, English Jose. Yeah. So you've had a long time with Aggie. First of all, when you first started off with him, what was he like? Has he changed much over the years? Is what I'm asking. Before we crack into your career.
I don't know. He hasn't really changed much. He's always been the same, like to me, like especially to me and stuff like that. I remember the first time we met, we was in Austria on a pre-season tour. As he come in, it was when the old managers, Jay Lovett and Matt Bubbs, were on their way out. So yeah, Aggie come in, and obviously I think some of the boys that lived in Hastings and Bexhill knew who he was. I didn't know who he was at the time, but now we got along straight away. I liked the way he managed. He liked the way I played. So
Eastbourne Borough, and you're learning your trade. You're understudy to Lewis Carey, and you got your big chance in an FA Cup game because Lewis got injured.
Right.
Yeah. And I seem to remember you actually went about and won that game. What was that whole experience like?
Oh, first proper men's game of football. I don't know what was going through my head when I saw, because obviously I'd been on the bench a few times before that, and in my head I never thought, like, because I can't remember, I think I was 16 at the time. I never thought I'd get the chance to sort of play there. And I remember when, like, unfortunately Lewis went down injured, the manager at the time came over, and I think I was in a bit of shock, like, to see that he was injured, and like in my head, like, trying to process that I could be coming on.
Yeah.
I think I come on and straight away had a goal kick, and like at the time that was a bit of pressure, like just to make sure that the first thing I'd done it properly, like I didn't mess up anything like that, because obviously no one had seen me play before, and I wanted to make sure that the boys in front of me trusted me, even though I was only 16, that we could go and win the game, and we did. So that was a good day.
So moving on from that, Louis, you then went to Eastbourne Town to look for some first team football, yeah? Yeah, and you were, is it Nestlin? Who was the goalie there? It was Greg Nestlin at the time, yeah. So you understudy to him for a time. I mean, was there anything you learned from him? Did you work together closely?
Yeah, we used to, it was me, Greg, and obviously Roger. He was our goalie coach, and yeah, he had played his whole career at this sort of level, so he knew things that I didn't know, and I sort of learnt things off him as well as Roger.
What were those sort of things, though? Was it like the liberties that are forward or take, or little things to pick up on?
I think the main thing was decision making. Like, obviously, going from playing academy football to men's football, obviously, like, the pace of the game is so much quicker. Like, shots are harder. There's people do things that you don't see, like, when you're playing academy. But I think the main thing was decision making. I think you've got to understand the game, the men's game, for, like, early on.
Yeah. Was it like reading things in advance? You know, like
so
how
like,
situations can.
Yeah, obviously not being naive and rushing things if we're 1-0 up or something, like seeing a game out, because obviously at the end of the day you're fighting for points in the league. it's a lot more competitive as well in men's football. So it's just about understanding the game. That was the biggest difference from I had to learn in men's football. But luckily, obviously, like you said, I was understudied to obviously Lewis Carey and Greg Neston. So it was two keepers that knew what they were doing, and they helped me a lot along the way as well.
One of your highlights was you played against Whitstable in the cup.
Yeah.
You managed to pull off a few. I do believe was it three penalties, 3 saves?
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, because you're not bad at saving penalties.
Nah, the last couple I haven't been able to save, but yeah, I've got. I don't know what it is. I think I've just been lucky. Just guessed right. Made sure that I've committed one side. At the end of the day, if I save it, I save it, and luckily I've done for a decent amount. But yeah, no, it's always nice to save a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, like with you, like even when I know obviously Bamber got that goal.
Yeah,
and I was, we're us fans, and I know we're biased anyway, so everyone's going to say that, but we always think you're going to save it.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it with the penalties? Just going off track here with the penalties, is it a trigger movements? What is it that you do save more than you don't? So it's like, what is it? Do you think? Is there any like dead giveaways that these forwards do?
I don't know. It's I don't know whether it's instinct or whether I read sort of people, but some penalty takers before they're sort of like when they put the ball down, some of them they'll look at where they're going, that they won't like take their eyes off it, and I pick that up, but I try not to make it too obvious for them to think that I know where they're going, sort of thing. But, and as well in like the split second of when they're doing their run up, there's little things. Which I might be completely wrong, but there's little things that I think are making them go one way or the other, and
it's like the magic circle with the magicians. You can't give away too much. There could be some forwards watching here. So after Eastbourne Town, you were obviously lured over to Hastings.
Yeah.
Now that happened. Was that Aggie in your ear, or was that obviously you wanted to make that step up? You didn't want to be.
Yeah. So obviously I wanted to obviously progress in my career. I think because I think Hinch was in charge, Worthing's manager, current manager. He was in charge at the time, and obviously Aggie called me over. I think I played. There was another keeper, Josh Pelling was there.
He was there for a while, and then obviously it was but I can't remember what's his name.
Charlie.
Charlie Earlock. Josh Pelling was there.
Yeah.
And you didn't really, you were just the understudy then.
Yeah, so I think in the last pre-season game of that first season I went there, I can't remember who we were playing against, but I had a knock to my knee. I think I hyperextended my knee slightly. Nothing like major or anything like that, but I remember I was in crutches for a month. I was out for a couple of months. But obviously I was gutted because I thought I had a good pre-season as well. And then when I was fit again, just trying to get back into it.
You did. Then you got some time. I think that they get you to dual register at Uckfield, wasn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
As well as playing the under-23s for Hastings, as well, weren't you?
I think I was playing like 1 or 2 games a week with Uckfield, and then 23s were playing as well once a week. So I was getting like 3 games a week, which I loved at the time. Like just football. Just getting back into it because I having like 2 months off. I hate not playing football.
Yeah.
Like even off season in the summer, I hate it. Obviously, I'll try and play football as much as I can if it's down the 3G of my mates and that. But
you don't like staying in goal. You like running out as well, didn't you? So I'm sure lots of fans I've spoken to, they're like, actually, you know what? Let him run out with it. So I mean, fullback, goalie, fullback. With the Uckfield, the time at Uckfield, I mean, how do you feel that helped with playing the 23s? I mean, was the coaching staff always in your ear that we're with you on this? Yes, you're at Uckfield, but your time will come.
Again, it was more obviously just getting as much first team experience as I could. So obviously, with the 23s games, obviously we was playing like the Hastings way, like playing out, and then on the other side of it, I was learning to deal with the physical side of things in county league football, like with Uckfield, like a very physical league. Like, I was getting bashed about every week. Obviously, I'm not the tallest, so like I was a target sort of thing, whether it's corners or anything like that. So growing up, sort of really, becoming more physical, like dealing with that physical side of it.
Yeah, I mean, with the 23s, you won the cup, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I mean, who was in at the time? Who was in that 23s team?
I know Sammy and Dicko. They played in that final with us. You had George Taggart, who's now at Saltdean, who was at Hastings for a while. People like Tyler Scrafton, I believe Kane Penn was there, who's obviously still here now. Brad Pritchard, but it's ages ago. I've got a picture on my phone somewhere. I have to have a look at some point.
Yeah, no, sorry, I caught you out there.
That's all right.
I should have done. I should have done that research, mate. You got one of the things that a highlight from Uckfield was you got into kind of local media and that because of a cup run. Like you performed particularly well and kept them in a lot of games. Do you think that was the thing that kind of? I mean, obviously Aggie taking charge as well might have helped. But do you think that was the final thing to say? Actually, we need to give this boy a chance because he's tearing it up. This Louis lad's got talent. He needs to be in our team. Do you think that was what did it?
Maybe, yeah. Obviously, I was doing well sort of at Uckfield, so whether or not what the main reason Aggie brought me back for, but I mean, yeah. Obviously, it was to give me a chance, and I obviously took the chance, and here now.
Because obviously, not a lot of us had heard of you before.
Yeah.
Because obviously Charlie was there, and I mean, was it expected or unexpected that he moved on? I mean, did you have much communication with him? Did you work with him much?
With Charlie, wasn't there with him long when I joined back up again. So I think he went in the summer, so he went at the end of that season. But I got along with Charlie really well in the off season. I think it was a couple of years ago. We all met up, me, Charlie, and a few other keepers.
Oh, nice.
We've done a few sessions over the summer just to keep ourselves ticking over. Being a keeper, there's not a lot of stuff that you can do either by yourself or with your mates other than just like shots, for example. So yeah, it's nice that there was a few of us keepers so we could work on that specific things. But I got along really well with Charlie. But yeah, obviously he moved on. I think he moved up to Hitchin, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's got a place up there now.
Right. Well, then you took over.
Yeah.
And you've made the shirt your own. Yeah, no one's dropping you now, mate. Jesus Christ. Obviously, we had the COVID season where we were superb throughout that season.
Yeah.
And, well, I still am flummoxed how they worked that out, that season where we played most of their games. I mean, your thoughts on that season, really?
Yeah, I remember when we found out that they were going to avoid the season, I was gutted. We pretty much played a full season. I think we had a few games left. We were clear top. I think I can't remember it completely, but we might have had our game in hand or something.
Oh, it was at least a few games in hand.
Yeah. And I don't know. Obviously, I think the league, the clubs decided, didn't they? Everyone had a vote, and I think everyone was just against us, sort of thing. Just don't let us get promoted. But I don't know. But it was gutting because obviously, if things had worked out differently, obviously, if COVID hadn't been around, then obviously who knows what we could have been now. But at the end of the day, obviously, it's happened, and we got to move on from it and do right this season now. So
obviously, there was the season after that got cut off.
Yeah, 10 games in or something, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's silly.
I know. Well, but let's go to this season. I mean, first of all, obviously, we had that really good cup run.
Yeah.
Any particular highlights from that?
Yeah, Chippenham, the whole experience of travelling up the night before. That's sort of what you're experiencing, what a professional footballer experiences all the time, sort of thing. Like they're travelling to games, hotels, and then preparing for the game like in a proper way, rather than travelling miles on the day, sort of thing, to turn up and play, sort of thing. But yeah, the whole experience in Chippenham and even Maidenhead. I know obviously the result didn't go away, but the whole atmosphere, the pitches, the standard of football, the fact that we brought our level to them, sort of thing, was good to see, and it's good experience all round.
It was hard to get a beer after the game at Maidenhead for some reason, but
I heard something about it.
That's another story. And then let's move on to Aggie going. You can understand why he's gone, in terms of his own career and progression. I mean, I know you touched on that about the law of that higher up level with the preparation and things like that, and the more time you've got and to focus on your own game and not traveling and all the other things.
all that. Obviously, I said to him, obviously, all the best and everything like that. Obviously, because obviously in his like personal development sort of things, going up the leagues is good like for his career. It was just obviously a shock for us because obviously in all our minds we all thought like he wasn't going to leave, like we were going to win the league altogether sort of thing and work our way up that way. It was just a shock really, but it was all left on good terms and stuff like that. So it was all sweet.
So yeah, Aggie goes. Was it easy for Gary to just switch? Obviously, he's a dressing room leader and he's quite vocal.
Yeah, he's always been a leader. I mean, when Aggie was there, sort of thing, our team huddles and stuff like that, Gaz was always the one speaking, always sort of like pumping us up as well. And I think it was an easy decision for him to take over. I think it had to be within the dressing room, like our new manager, just because of like, obviously the group of players that we had, and obviously the progress we made over the last couple of years. I think it was only right that it was someone like Gaz to come in, and I think he's done a brilliant job so far. So
yeah, what is he? Is it just an organisational thing? We could just say Finn O'Mara coming in. Was there any distinct difference from what Aggie was the blueprint for Aggie to what Gary's doing?
The style of play we're playing, we're trying to play out when we can, which is still like obviously the main thing. But I think with Gaz is sometimes it will be a bit more like it will be a specific style of play, or like if things aren't going our way, it will be clear like what we're going to do the next half, or like for example, like even against VCD on Saturday, for example, obviously what Gaz and John and Meany had said to me was I had like obviously different options, but I think it was clearer as to if they were pressing what options I had and if they were dropping off what options I had, sort of thing, whether it was playing out, going over the top, round the sides, etc. Both tactics were brilliant sort of thing, so I can't fault both of them. Man.
Yeah. One of the big changes I thought was we'd started getting niggling injuries in defence, and I didn't think that had helped us in the first part of the season, and that seemed to impact on everyone. I mean, we were so used to being a very tight defence.
Yeah.
I think that the fact with Finn O'Mara coming in, I think he's just a monster. And it seemed to have immediately helped with a lot of your decision making. Like and I'm only just a fan, so please tell me if I'm wrong. That you seem to be a lot more comfortable with the defence that were around you. You were very committed. Like if you're coming out, you were coming straight out. You would, particularly, you goal catching on the corners and things like that, or clearing. I mean, what's Finn's impact on that defence?
I think it's like his calmness. Like he looks so chilled on the ball. Like whether he's defending off the ball or he's got the ball at his feet, he looks chilled. He looks comfortable, and I think that rubs off for me, because then if I know that obviously my centre half's in front of me, like if they're comfortable and they're happy, sort of thing, then it makes me feel more comfortable and happier. So. Like, I didn't realise when he first came out, I didn't realise how old he was. I didn't realise he was younger. He's a year younger than me, but I thought because of his size, and I thought
you think he's not,
yeah, and obviously like how he is as a defender, I thought he was older because he's a really good defender. So
yeah, he does seem to play with an older head. Like he seems to.
Yeah, he doesn't. If he's got to go, he's no messing about. He's getting rid of it. He knows what he's doing. So it's good to have that in front of me, sort of thing. It makes me feel better. More relaxed, if that makes sense, sort of thing, knowing that their decision making is correct, and obviously, and then it helps me in my decision making, whether it's coming for a ball or letting them deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, like we'll talk about the VCD game quickly. I think you pulled off a couple of cracking, at least two cracking saves.
Yeah,
in a game that we quite easily could have lost. They obviously got like Bamba.
I mean, hard to break down.
Give him any space, and he's a nightmare.
Yeah, that game annoys me. That game, just official wise, but I'm not going to go into it too much.
Yeah, you can't go into it, but I can. Yeah,
you can.
Yeah, I can. I mean, your fans are biased. Yeah, there's no way they're not, right? But I remember I think it was for the second goal, the challenge in midfield that they gave.
That they got the free kick for.
Yeah, and it was like, you are having an absolute, that is.
Yeah.
It was just, I noticed there was a few calls coming from the linesman.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was it first, I think it was first half. And the linesman wasn't looking. Like he would give one thing, you weren't looking, and then he's giving something out, and it's like you're going on reaction.
Yeah.
And
I think it was the same for the penalty. I think the ref went on reaction.
Well, I mean, I was asking their goalie because we were behind their goal, and what was the pen for, mate? I was asked genuinely. I didn't know.
Yeah.
He didn't know.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Yeah, it's pen." No one's arguing, and I'm like, "Okay, but do you know what it's for, Matt?" And he didn't know. So
yeah, I think the thing that got me was because he didn't even give Finn a yellow card, and I think if he had actually seen, if he's given the pen off his own view,
yeah,
Finn would have been yellow carded. But the fact that he didn't give him a yellow card just shows me that he went off reaction, didn't know what happened, and he's gone with that. But at the end of the day, it's what it is. But
no, that was a little bit annoying. I mean, some of the standouts this season. I mean, I think we've obviously got some of the younger lads in on Marcus and Finn, and I mean, obviously Tom is he's he glides with the ball. Yeah. I mean, you've also got Dicko, who's he wasn't always in, and now I think he's been fabulous the last few games.
Yeah.
Dicko.
Yeah, he's solid. Him in midfield, he's solid. He gets stuck in. He covers every blade of grass. His stats at the end of the game, he runs a lot. He does a lot for the team, and it's big for us.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Popey.
Yeah.
And now obviously he's a dad, so he's getting all those wake ups now, and he's throwing defenders around still. Yeah,
he's still throwing everyone about, still performing well. Yeah, fair play to him. No sleep and still managed to run around the pitch for 90 minutes. So
unbelievable. I mean, who's your favourites in the team? Is there any ones that you knock about with, or is there any of the lads in the team that are good for banter?
Yeah, I mean, I get along with everyone. A lot of the boys are Hastings boys. Obviously, I'm from Eastbourne, so I've got a little class school. Yeah. So we've got me, Ryan, Popey, and Nori. So a little car school. So we obviously all travel up together all the time. Bit of banter in the car and stuff like that on the way there and back. But yeah, I think that's car school number 5 now. I've had so many different car schools that I've been a part of, from obviously players that have come and gone, like Jake as well, like last season.
He was a big hole. He was a big hole once he left, because we were used to that player that come in who just up that right hand side.
Yeah.
And Tom's took over. I think he's making that his own now. What's your thoughts on that, Louis?
Yeah, I mean, before obviously when TC was playing out on the wing or up front, in my head I'm thinking you would never think to put him as a right back. And I think when Gaz did stick him right back one game, I was like you said, he just glides. I don't know how he does it. I couldn't do it myself. If I was running, I would have lost it straight away. But he, I don't know. It's simple gliding, but he does it really well.
Well, I don't want to go back to that VCD game. I think he got hard done by. There was a few that went in on him that I thought that the ref should have picked up on, but
yeah.
It's sounding bitter here. Gary Elphick, manager of the month.
Yeah.
Louis Rogers, goalie of the month. So when you win it next month, do you get a different set of gloves, Louis?
I believe so. Yeah. I think it's obviously it's per award, so
yeah.
Fingers crossed, hopefully.
You know what I'm going to ask you, right? First of all, is it going to be our season this year?
Yeah.
It's going to be our season.
Yeah, our season. Yeah.
It's our season. We're going to smash it this year, aren't we? Right. Yeah. Any last thoughts out to those Hastings fans that are going to watch this?
Thank you, everyone. Obviously, your commitment week in, week out. Obviously, coming to all the games, breaking the record on Saturday, 2017, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, keep doing what you're doing, because obviously it helps us massively. How loud you lot are on a Saturday or Tuesday, no matter where we are, sort of thing. It drives us, it pushes us on. So thank you, and we'll go again on Saturday. So appreciate every one of you.
Yeah, Louis, just quickly, your song, you don't mind it?
Yeah, no, I like it. Yeah.
No. All right, just so someone asked me about that. They said, "Well, what do you think of the song?" I don't know. I'll ask him.
Good song.
Louis, absolute pleasure. Love to have you on again. Maybe come on a round table one time.
Definitely,
with the fans. Thanks a lot, chap. And I'll see you at the game.
Yeah, I'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah, take care, mate.
Thank you for having me. Cheers.
And now over to our Sbts fan roundtable. Thanks as ever to Robbie, Leon, Ian, Andy, John, George and Charlotte for making it happen. Right, well, Mr. Wills isn't here. This is our traditional now reminder phone call because John's probably fell asleep. He likes these support calls that I give him.
Likes to feel wanted. You have to go through his agent, his people.
Exactly. Yeah, well, Andy's saying, you know, we have to go through your agent these days. Are you coming on or what? So what are you up to then? You're just dying. You need to get off the phone and ring the emergency services then.
Tell him to ring 101, not plug up the system.
Yeah. Why don't you talk about that on the round table? You want to talk about boiled cake? Just get on, you git. All right, hang on. All right. Hurry up. I definitely don't want a rectal view of Mr. Gasson. That's definitely not what anyone needs.
Oh, that's my front.
How many people's in that angle?
Yeah, exactly.
He's obviously been watching some Polish art films or something and changing his camera angles.
Every rap video from the 90s.
Yes. Yeah.
It needs to be inside a cheese grater for that.
Yes. Every Jamiroquai video is inside a cheese grater. Like, Kev, hope you're all right, mate, if you're listening to the podcast. Haven't seen you, miss you. And seeing Robbie being wheeled away in that chair on Saturday just made me think I do actually miss having Kev.
Well, you'd rather have Kev there than Robbie
100%.
in a wheelchair.
Yeah, Rob looked like a dick. Kev looks all right.
The sympathy that poor old Robbie gets.
I bought him a beer. The ambulance crew was surprised. Come over with a best bitter while they were like sorting out his foot.
What's the story there then?
He just took a tumble, didn't he? He just collapsed down the stairs.
The best thing was
terrace stairs.
We'd scored 4 goals and won, right? And we're top of the league. But he injured himself celebrating, Lancing, getting a draw at Ashford. That's the best thing about that whole story.
True commitment.
It was quite a spectacular tumble as well. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's what he's like, though. I wasn't even surprised.
Bit of contact, and he felt like he was entitled to go down, kind of thing.
He anticipated it, didn't he? A bit of anticipation there.
Drew the challenge.
He drew. Well, have we? Well, right. You've got people playing chess. You've got what you got in your hand, John?
It's called a book, Chris.
Yeah.
What are these things? What are these things?
My insulin.
I'll just do that.
Off, so it's out of insulin. So if I expire halfway through, you'll know why. That's my excuse for leaving.
Sorry, John, my line every time I hear things like that. Just which pocket's your wallet in?
What?
John, I've been saying the same line for donkey's years. Which pocket's your wallet in? All right, it's now dead. That's dead on arrival, that joke now. All right. Fucking hell.
I don't
get it. As in, I don't really care about you. I'm just going to have your wallet.
I got that's right. Theme of what you're talking about with Robbie, I thought, yeah, that was interesting. As he was laying there writhing in agony, I thought his best mate would be rushing over to him and checking if he's all right. Instead, he got halfway down there with his drumstick in his hand and then thought, shall I go and comfort him? Shall I go and see if he's all right? No, I'll start a chant directed at him, wanker.
Who did that?
You did.
Oh, yeah. I was right, though.
Unbelievable.
You got half the way down as though you're going to check on him anxiously, and then you stopped, and then you could see it ticking through your mind, and then you started that chant. I can't be too critical because I joined in on it.
Amazing.
And who says we're uncaring? Chaps, it gives me great, and ladies actually, because we've got a lady present as well. We've got the wonderful Flat White Andy. We've got Leon. We've got the returning Ian. We've got Johnny Wills. We've got Charlotte somewhere, and we've also got the Ginger Ninja himself, Georgie Boy. Thanks for coming on. Yes, another week, another glorious victory on what we hope is going to be the promised land of. But yeah, we better not talk about that. I didn't think the game was going to happen on Saturday. I just thought that was rained off, and with a miracle, we may have lost the groundsman. I'm not sure if Mr. Rudkins is a happy man, and they managed to get that game on. I mean, tremendous from the club. It was great to see everyone mucking in. Any thoughts on? I mean, was it just me? I mean, did we all think it was rained off? I mean,
no, I assumed it was rained off, to be honest.
I was pretty convinced, I must admit. I was continually checking, even to the point when we got out of the van.
A word on that. So it's a tough one because obviously Simon Rudkins, experienced groundsman. We know we had a year without him and the pitch wasn't as good. And you got to respect what he says about the pitch. And it had been played on Thursday for the under-23s in a big match as well. And it is a tough one. And I think first, thanks to Simon Rudkins, his expertise getting that game on, because not a lot of other groundsmen would have been able to work that pitch. So it was playable, even if he wasn't certain it was playable. And I just think now, in a time where over the last 2 years, we've had so many games called off for all sorts of reasons, and we could do in the future, and you've got 900 people there wanting to see a game of football. It's just so important to get the game on. Like the next home game in 2 weeks' time, I know it's used for other reasons, but the next men's home game in 2 weeks' time could get called off for any sort of reason. And we might not use the pitch again almost this month. So they've got to be the priority of getting the game on. And I think the ref made the right call. Yeah,
I agree with you, George. And the pitch generally played okay, didn't it? We saw some great football out there. It was one of the best performances we've seen from the team this season. I thought it is a dodgy decision. It's a big decision to make, but how important it is to have those 3 points and the teams below us chasing us. They've got the pressure. They've got to win games in hand, and even if they do, they're not on the same level points as us. But it's a tremendous result, and considering how the other results went, to have got that game up and running is big credit to whoever was involved, and that includes Simon as well, doesn't it, for his work on the pitch. It's just one of those things. It's going to get battered at times.
I think most importantly, when I was watching the game, I never thought it was dangerous. I'm sure we've all been at games that have been abandoned where the ball, if someone makes a pass and the ball just stops dead in its tracks, and that's when people start, flying into tackles. You've got, strong athletic blokes out there that are capable of making strong tackles, and when it gets dangerous, someone could get hurt. But throughout the game, I didn't think it was ever dangerous for him, which I think is the most important thing, really. I mean, obviously, Simon's going to be pulling his hair out over the pitch, but for me as a fan, I just wanted to see a game of football. I'm sure the players wanted to play football. And like I say, I never thought it was dangerous for them out there.
Didn't play that way, did it? It wasn't. You wouldn't have. No. We played some fantastic football.
No, there were very few occasions where the ball held up at all. Really, there were a couple of splashy bits, but other than that, it played really well. I mean, it's a sort of testament to the condition of the pitch overall, isn't it? Really, that it can cope with that level of rainfall at all without turning into a quagmire.
I mean, just before coming on here with you guys, I was scrolling through Twitter, and I don't know if you know Asher, who manages Hollington. He took a quick video.
Oh, blimey, yeah.
And it was ridiculous how that game went ahead. That was stupid. So I think he tweeted Simon,
I'm not trying to wind him up at all. Yeah.
I don't know.
Never. Yeah, I mean, what a game! Managed to get it on. Just shout outs to Billy and credit to Mr. Burney, Gary Histed, obviously, because he's involved with everything, and a few other fans for cracking in because there was a corner. It was a little bit dodgy, and they managed to clear a ton of water and get that game going. Brilliant stuff. And I mean, who wants to start on the actual match? Because the match itself was, it's just love every second of it. Well, who wants to start on that?
Well, if you want.
Yeah, go on, Ian, please.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun, wasn't it? I thought Faversham were really fun in a kind of rubbish way, but they were really fun. They kind of came and attacked, which is always, very few teams come to the Pilot Field and go, right, we're going to come and attack. And it sort of seemed like a strange decision until you kind of worked out that the reason they were doing that is because they didn't have a midfield or a defence to speak of, really. So incredibly vulnerable as soon as we got the ball. But, in the first half, Louis was outstanding in the first half. He made a really brilliant save in the first couple of minutes and then was just, absolutely secure and safe. But he had quite a lot to do. It was just that every time we got the ball, we kind of carved them open. And obviously after half time, we really took them apart. There was a moment just at the stroke of half time where Gary and the coaching staff kind of stayed out of the dressing room, and were kind of obviously sort of deep in conversation about something. And I couldn't really tell what it was, but immediately in the second half, we just took them apart, really. So I don't know what change they were making or what tinkering they were doing, but wherever it was, it worked. But yeah, I thought Faversham were fun. They had a number 9 who sort of fell over screaming in a kind of entertaining fashion. They had a number 10 who lost it completely with various of his teammates, which is always entertaining. I thought they were crap but fun, which is what we want. That's what you want in an opponent, isn't it? Crap but fun.
But were they as bad as Whitstable? I thought Whitstable were worse than them, but then maybe that's just me.
Oh no, yeah, I thought Whitstable were worse. I thought Faversham did try to take us on a bit, and coming back to what Ian said about that save of Louis in the first 5 minutes was really, really, really was a good one of the best saves I've seen this season. That bloke hit it so hard at him from point blank range, and how it didn't go through him, I'll never know. And he caught everything. He caught
those new gloves. It's that December Player of the Month. His new AB gloves.
Yeah, but they did try they rather painfully in the second half, they never gave up as well, which I thought was pretty irritating. Everybody wanted to call it quits. After Jack Dixon went off, I think everybody wanted to sort of just tuck it up, and they just wouldn't stop trying, which I think everyone found.
Lady boys. Go on. It's a Lady Boy reference there. Sorry,
bit niche.
Yeah,
one for our specialist fans out there. So all credit to them for that. I thought, and I thought both the pitch was playable, and both teams played well on the pitch. They didn't go sliding around like a load of Burks trying to take each other out as well. So it's almost like they took responsibility, and it became a better game because of that.
They got the game played. To be fair, particularly when Faversham were getting hammered, they never really bitched about the pitch at all. They could have done, which was good of them. Really good of them. There was
handy. They were only 1-0 down at half time, so they didn't go marching into the referee's room. If they were 4-0 down, they might have gone battering the referee's dressing room down.
Well, it stopped raining by that point, hadn't it?
Yeah.
So,
and the pitch playing all right, really. In just a few areas. Generally, it didn't affect the game.
Well, you could just point to the first goal we scored. That's lovely passing football on a pitch where the ball's running true.
And the third goal as well, with Cisse cutting through. And if the pitch was unplayable there, then the ball would have stopped after he nutmegged the player as he went through. The ball would have just stopped if it wasn't playable. So it's held up really well.
He did. He came in from that area where it was at its worst, where Billy was down there sweeping away and ruined another pair
Chelsea boots.
Ruined another pair of Brantano's finest footwear, I wouldn't mind betting. But I see him scampering out in his football boots at half time. He couldn't wait to get out there in his football boots.
Talking of his shoes, what was he wearing, George? You remember when we did the Q&A afterwards? He was wearing a new pair. He got them.
Honestly, Chris, seriously, Chris, I don't remember any of the Q&A.
Yeah. Okay.
I was gone. I
You were
was
drunk.
completely gone, mate. Don't remember anything. I know I said some things. I don't know what I said. But I'm sure they were nice. So, yeah. Don't ask me about the Q&A.
Okay, right. Well, yeah, talking about the game, let's talk about the goals. Ben Pope, a couple of cracking goals. Obviously, Finn Amara scoring that overhead. I had a fresh beer in my hand and that I lost most of that. And then obviously Cisse getting a goal as well. Let's talk about some of those. I mean, is any the Finn goal?
I want to talk about that front three. To me, that's the best performance from any front three lineup we've had this season as a unit. Nori was fantastic as well on the right, providing a real threat. So it's not like anyone could go and double up or move a better defender over to cover Cisse, because Nori was a real threat as well. Ben Pope
and defensively as well.
Yeah,
Nori,
and defensively,
proper on it.
But I'm annoyed at one of our defenders. But
Okay.
the Ben Pope, another assist as well with a flick on. But the defender I'm annoyed at is Finn O'Mara, because actually this is a time when we're trying to negotiate a fee for a player, and he's decided to up his value with an overhead kick. Can you not, mate? Can you not? Can you save that until after we've signed?
Ridiculous.
So,
did you see Craig Stone grab his head like Jesus Christ when he saw that ball when he hit the overhead kick?
Yeah, just describing it today at work, and they were like, "What, proper overhead kick?" Yeah, proper overhead kick. Not those ones that they call an overhead kick now that aren't really. So quite annoyed actually at Finn. Think he'd have waited a couple of weeks. That'd have been great. But yeah, what a goal! And yeah, another assist from Ben Pope too.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was a solid team performance. That's why it was difficult to pick match, wasn't it? You could pick out a few heroes from the back or midfield, and of course then you had a spectacular performance by Ben again. Really shows how much we miss him when he's not in the side. But it's the best I've ever seen Nori play, I think. He's like had a confidence back and was going forward. And then the other side, you've got, as you said, George, Cisse, every time he got the ball, he was putting that defender in threat, wasn't he? And going past him or cutting inside. It was just, it was really dynamic. It reminded me of a couple of seasons ago when we had two wide players on great form, and it was a threat every time we were going forward.
I think Cisse was probably my man of the match. I must admit, he really, really, really made things happen. Him, and particularly in the first half, Nori. The way they just hugged Cisse must have been bloody lonely over there in the on the far side with no spectators in that weather. But he just hugged that touchline, and the ball, it was always on. That ball was always on, and he really gave them a lot of trouble, and contributed to 2 goals and scored his own goal, and they never got to grips with him at all.
Yeah, he definitely deserved a goal. If you're not getting man of the match, get a goal. So, I mean...
A bit of a bummer they didn't announce his name, though, did they?
Did they not?
Announced it as Finn O'Mara.
Did they?
A little bit harsh.
Okay.
But, yeah.
It was one of those games where really you could look right across the whole team, and there was no sort of less than 7 or 8 out of 10 performances, really. There were people who had quieter games because they had, because of the way that the game panned out. Like Jack Dixon and Sam Adams and Ryan Worrell in midfield would, absolutely boss the whole thing.
One thing I noticed that was fantastic about Jack Dixon, he went off after 60 minutes and his kit was completely clean. And it just showed how good a game he'd had, that he hadn't had to be sort of lunging around and making those tackles. He was actually playing in the right place, making things happen. And he said he went off after 60 minutes and he was pretty clean. I thought that really just summed up how good a game he'd had.
Better the season so far.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, George. But the with Tom Chalmers being out, that was it. Marcus Goldsmith was in, and I thought he had a very good game considering. I thought it wasn't massively noticeable that Tom wasn't there, so it was some.
Well, Marcus gets forward again as well. Not quite as a different player to Tom, obviously, but he gets forward again. So it gives the midfield and the defender on that side problems because they've got a winger, and they got him coming up as well. So it just really gives people problems.
That's good. It's good. Any more words on Faversham? Anyone want to talk about anything else about Faversham?
Just the only downside was that sort of bad injury right at the end of the second half, and we just hope that lad will be up and running again soon.
Which lad, John?
Robbie.
Oh, Robbie. Oh, all right. It's fine.
I thought you were referring to sarcastically to the Faversham bloke who not only laid down on the far side of the pitch. And if I was the physio, I would have just told him to piss off. I ain't running all the way over there, mate, just for you to get back up again, which is what happened. I bet he was cursing as he jogged across that pitch. There were some great moments, though, weren't there? There was one bit where Sam Adams made a run from midfield late on, and it was like he was running across ice as he just sort of ran tippy-toed through the pitch with the ball at his feet, and it was just
talking to Robbie, by the way.
So entertaining.
We have Robbie. We have a latecomer in Robbie. Talking of entertaining.
Show us your foot, dickhead.
I'm here.
Yes. Robbie, we've been really kind about you, Robbie, and we just want to know, are you okay?
Jesus Christ, that's hard, but
we've oh, COVID. You can't give us COVID.
I thought you hurt your foot.
Yeah.
He's got COVID.
Isolate him.
Well, we were mentioning. Well, actually, I didn't mention this. Someone else mentioned the fact that we all thought George was going to come and help you. When you obviously had anticipated some contact, but instead George stopped and started singing a wanker chant that a few people joined in. I mean, what's your feelings about that, Robbie?
Fully justified.
Were you aware of that of sympathy as you were riding about in that?
Oh, it's what I expect. It's fully what I expect.
Yeah.
He falls over all the time. Honestly, you haven't known him as long as I have. Right. There's at least every year there's a notable fall over from Rob somewhere that sticks in the memory.
Is that fake news, Robbie, or what?
They usually don't end up in hospital, to be fair.
To be fair, I said to Daryl, can you take Robbie to the hospital because I did the last one? That's a genuine quote.
Technically, he didn't take me, just rode in the ambulance that time, and I didn't feel like
And there was a difference this time.
I wasn't actually that drunk, to be fair. I was just being stupid because Lancing held Ashford.
Why are Lancing where Lancing are? What's
because they just are.
About? I don't understand though. I mean, they look pretty decent at the pilot field. Yeah, they've taken points off Ashford and Cray in the last month or whatever.
It's taken them time to adjust to the league, I think. So, first moving up from the counties, they just got adjusted to it. I think they've settled in now. They're used to the opposition, and I think it's worked out how to play.
Fair enough. Good answer. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie. Yeah. Right. Well, shall we talk the Q&A with Gary?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. So, George, you remember none of it.
Yeah, that's why I want you to talk about it, because I'd like to find out what happened.
Well, it wasn't that long. Leon, did you stay for it? Who's here that stayed for it? Just Wills?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I don't know if you agree with me on it, John, but it wasn't that long, but it was good. Gary just said, steady, let's not get ahead of ourselves, the usual stuff. But what was mentioned was Tynekiln, because someone asked about Tynekiln, and the fact that Billy said that the council are delaying it again, and that he's. Have I got that one wrong, John? That's what he said.
Yeah, there was some talk about that. I was just thinking, what a great plan B we have if we have to stay at the pilot field. You look around that ground. There's no other ground like it. We go to all these crummy little places, don't we? And that's such an amazing ground with such history behind it. And I know why we should and all that, but I'm just saying, what a plan B.
Well,
What is Plan B?
Spend a bit of money doing it up, and I know it.
but this is John Wills's plan B. Yeah, go on, carry on.
You can explain this one to Billy.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, all I'm just saying is if it does, if it's the right thing, then it's the right thing, and people will know better than me, obviously. But if we end up staying there, it's not the worst place to be, is it?
I remember George mentioning to Billy about the attendance. Obviously, we are getting big attendances now, and the plan was it to be about 2,000 or 2,500 initially?
it was about 2, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, was it? And the fact that obviously that's a nonsense that it needs to be bigger. And
we had 1,000 against Lancing, who didn't bring hardly any supporters, and just your run-of-the-mill league game.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it needs to be bigger because it needs to be bigger for us to get into the National League South.
So either way, something needs to happen. As I say, I'm going to talk to Billy next week, try and get him on and have a chat about this, because the council are apparently delaying it longer. It's got nothing to do with opposition from people that live there, apparently. So I don't know. So I don't want to guess. And he left it at that. That was my recollection, John. But I had a few beers.
You had, and you were asking a lot of questions. My only question was...
Well, no one else was asking questions, John.
Well, question. I asked a question. The question was, why do you keep allowing Laverick to ask so many questions?
So, I mean, see what I've got to work with here. Unbelievable. Well, I actually gave the questions to Smithy, yeah? And I said, because I didn't think I'd be there, I was forced to drink alcohol and I stayed longer than I should have done. I was supposed to be doing a family thing. And Smithy said, no, you've got to ask the questions now, because he didn't want to talk. So I asked some questions and then John started.
Well, while there's a pause, I've just done some research on Lancing. And basically, I've gone from their game against Chichester at the start of the season, and then the game they played against us, and the starting 11s, there's only like 2 players that are in both starting 11s. So they've got different players. So I would expect a tougher game when we go there on Easter Monday than we had at the pilot field. So, yeah, different players. I saw they had Ansu Jana at the start of the season, and they don't now. So I imagine perhaps getting rid of him, that means they can bring in some other players. I don't imagine he was cheap. So perhaps it's that. And they've found their feet a little bit. But Lancing's ground should be good, shouldn't it?
So, Robbie, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. So I was eating a bit of dinner.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so
he is the new Kev Towner. That is what Rob is, eating food on the podcast.
Got a wheelchair. I mean,
you're not in a wheelchair. Are you still in a wheelchair?
No, not in a wheelchair now. On crutches. But I was in a wheelchair at the ground, so. You
didn't have a lovely assistant, though, did you? You had Daryl.
Oh, that was a lovely assistant.
No, not in the same league as Kev's assistant, to be fair. Did anyone get that? I didn't understand any of that.
Was it so?
What did you say?
Sorry, eating still. I won't criticize Daryl.
Definitely Kev. Definitely Kev now.
You sounded like the teacher from Charlie Brown.
Older people will get that reference, Leon.
I'm in that category.
Yeah, you are in my category, mate. Yeah. All right. Right. Okay. So moving on from the Q&A, what one of the things we were going to have was the under-23s on today, because they made the final. Unfortunately, some of them got to do a bit of coaching and things like that, and the young lads, they don't want to do things like this, so they
past their bedtime sort of thing.
I'm keeping that in. Well done, Ian. Yes, past their bedtime. These little.
They got wind that we hadn't all been police checked.
Fucking hell, speak for yourself, Andy.
Well, I know George's going to be.
George, check his hard drive. Check his hard drive, George. Right. Unbelievable stuff. So under 23s, they've made the final. Lancing, 27th of January, by the way, for anyone that wants to go. It's a bloody Thursday evening. Which
at Lancing?
Yeah. It's
that's a shame, because that's a shit drive as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half, isn't it? Hour and a half.
Well, it's not the distance; it's just the roads. Once you get in past Brighton, you've got Lewis the Lewis snarl up, and then those Shoreham to Lancing. Is
the traffic lights and
what a shit piece of road that is. No offence.
Yeah,
yes, offence. They should get it sorted.
You don't want to upset anyone in the Brighton area. They get very easily offended.
Well, I'm sure they probably want that road. I'm sure they want that road sorted as much as we do.
Well, so that's that.
So anyway, this is a stupid question. They're playing Lancing, yeah?
No, they're playing at Lancing.
Right.
I was looking for New Haven, something like that.
Who's it, Leon? Sorry.
I'm not 100%. I think it might be either Eastbourne Town or New Haven.
Because that was the thing I couldn't find out, who they were actually playing.
Yeah, it's Eastbourne or New Haven.
Yeah. So a little bit annoying because that obviously will affect the... It would have been real great if it had been a weekend that a few of us could have got down there. But
yeah, it's a bit of a shame for the team, really, isn't it?
I'm working anyway that Thursday, but...
Well, especially if they're playing Eastbourne or New Haven, because it's not exactly convenient for them either, is it really?
Yeah, to be empty ground, probably. But
better off having it this side of Brighton.
Bloody Lancing. Right. Chaps, do we have anything else we want to mention? Otherwise, I shall bid you lovely people adieu.
Yeah, a bit of a save the date in general for Hastings fans. I've heard strong rumours that there's going to be some reduced price coaches going to Ashford for the game on the 29th. And by the time this one goes out, and if you're listening to this podcast on Dave, the game will be this week. So, get on, have a look at getting on a coach. I know there's a target from the club to take a few hundred, and wouldn't be great if we outnumbered them at their own ground for that massive fixture. So, save the date. If it's one that you usually can't get to or away travel's expensive, keep your eyes and ears open for some hopefully reduced travel for the Ashford game.
Yeah, usually Rob French gets that information out there. And it is usually a little bit discounted for people that are in the supporters club.
10%, isn't it?
Whitstable. Who are we playing Saturday? It's Whitstable.
Whitstable away.
There's discounted travel for supporters club members. If you want to go on the coach, and believe me, there's some entertainment on that coach. Yeah, I don't think we need to lie. There is some entertainment on that coach. If you go. Do I say any more? I don't want to say.
We have the most diverse fan base.
Yeah, we have the most diverse fan base. That's it. That's what I need to say. Yeah.
I went for the first time up to VCD on that coach. It is interesting. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say.
But if you are travelling, if there's more, there should be more than one coach, so you can watch Leon get on one coach and you can get on the other.
I was just going to ask that, whether there's going to be a quiet coach, actually.
main stand only.
Yeah, main stand coach.
That's right.
And there's going to be one coach and it's only terracing on the coach, so you just all stood up.
I'd go on the one where they hand you all a word search as you get on, or something like that. Word search or crochet. Oh, well.
On a historical note, talking about glory days back to the pilot field. I was just reading this book actually. Roger Sindon. Can you see what it is?
Yes, see it, yeah.
Well, some other people on the podcast can't, but yes, go on.
This is going out on video. This is going out on video as well, by the way. But John, please repeat what the book's called.
It's called Hastings United Through Time. It's by Roger Sindon. And it was just interesting. We had a manager called Bobby Drake back in the 50s. Great manager.
Did he know Charlie Drake? Sorry.
His father was Ted Drake, who played for Arsenal in the 30s and was renowned goal scorer. Scored 7 goals at Aston Villa for Arsenal in one match. And I just thought it was fantastic times. Those days in the 50s and early 60s at the pilot field with crowds between 5,000 and 9,000. You know, it makes you think. And the whole of the side opposite the main stand, it was tiered level, and it was absolutely packed with people. About the same time as they had the Speedway going as well, which was eventually, the Speedway was drawing in crowds of 8,000 easy, and it was complaints from the neighbours that meant that the plug was pulled on that. But I suppose it's going back to the history involved with this, with the pilot field.
How old are you then? About 15?
I was just going to ask him if they passed him over their heads down to the front so he could see.
Yeah, Flat White Andy knew it have been at that match when Ted Drake scored 7.
Yeah, in those days, I was Nescafe Andy. There were different times.
He was Snuffbox Andy, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, it would have been Camp Coffee, wouldn't it? That's what it would have been in those days.
Yes.
Oh,
Camp Coffee, the stuff in a bottle.
And Shag Tobacco, probably.
Or whether, I don't know whether Camp Andy, I don't know whether we'll stick with that one, though. Been said before.
Yeah, well, there you go. Oh, I can rip a tissue. Right. On that note, I think we've lost George and Robbie already. On that note, let us bid all you lovely Hastings fans goodbye.
One last thing, Chris. Just wanted to say one thing. We're top of the league, Chris.
Oh,
I mean, that's
not,
been
are
mentioned
we?
enough on this podcast. Yeah, I just don't think that's been mentioned enough this week. Enjoy it. We're top of the league. Best team. Highest attendances in the country at our level. Enjoy it. Great time, innit? So, yeah,
I think we do. I think we do, don't we, George?
Yeah, we do enjoy it a bit. Yeah, just like, I know everyone's being a bit like, a bit tentative about saying we're going up and things like that, but we should enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, Louis Rogers for next week's podcast, he's not being tentative, just so you know. He's
excellent. Good.
So, chaps, Andy, Leon, Ian, John, an injured Robbie, and the lovely George and Charlotte. Thank you very much, and see you at the game.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
That's it for another week, Hughes fans. And what a week it was. We had sensational Cisse, sweet Pope perfection, and Finn the Fantastic. Can't wait for Whitstable. As ever, if you want to get in contact with the show, or have any suggestions, or want to get in on our weekly roundtables, that email again is hufcpod@gmail.com, or on the Twitter, which is @hufcpodcast. You can get this podcast on all major platforms, be it Google Podcasts, Audible, iTunes, Spotify, or Amazon Music. And we have a jam-packed YouTube channel, chock-a-block, full of video interviews and episodes from the podcast. Please, please, please give it a look, a comment, or a like. But definitely subscribe. It's all free. All that's left for me to say is, I've been your host, Chris Laverick. Hope you have a good week, and see you at the game.